What's going on, YouTubeski with it dooski?
Okay, what's up, y'all? We are back again, and we have a very special guest. We are so excited to have him on today. Tim, please introduce yourself.
What's up, family? This is just call me Tim. Hey, thanks for having me on your channel. You know what I mean? I've been observing y'all for a long time. I appreciate y'all work, and y'all helped a lot of people, I'm sure, including myself. So I'm
We
glad to be.
appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
And Tim got a nice channel too.
Yes, he does. You guys will definitely have to check him out. We're gonna put his link in the description so you guys can head over and see what he's talking about as well.
Yep. So we'll start from the top and get to cooking, right?
Yeah, let's dive in.
All right. So from the beginning, obviously, Tim, you were at some point in life a Jehovah's Witness. So we'll take it all the way back to the beginning. So how was this something you grew up in? Did you come across it later? How did you end up a part of this group?
Well, mom and daddy decided that when I was born, they was already in it, so I didn't really have a choice in it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
It was one of the things. I was in the womb hearing Kingdom Melodies, so.
Dang.
Coming out the womb, born and raised in Ohio, man, born and raised in the religion. And as far as I can remember, dad was an elder, mom pioneer, had two younger sisters. So we was like that ideal, Jehovah Witness family,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So talk to us a little bit about your experience as growing up as one of Jehovah's Witnesses, because I think it's different whenever you grow up in it versus coming into it later in life, obviously.
Especially what Tim was saying, a pioneer mother and like a family that's deep in it versus like a studying family. So
Yes.
kind of walk us through that, what it was like growing up.
For sure. It was, my dad was like a strict.
Mm.
We grew up in I was 76 born, my sister's late 70s, early 80s. So we was like 80s babies. And
Okay.
we had that strict,
Yeah.
you gonna study for every watchtower, it better be marked, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, you gotta have all the answers right. So it was that real tight religious home where you ain't have no outside friends outside of the hall.
Mhm.
Going to school, you ain't no birthday parties for you. You absent for Christmas parties, birthday parties, Valentine, any of that. Ain't no
Right.
party for you, buddy. You going
Yeah.
home. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
I remember kindergarten was the first weird moment I can remember thinking back, and that was the Pledge of Allegiance. We stand up
Mhm.
and everybody got their hand on the heart, Pledge of Allegiance, and I just stand there like, just standing there.
Yeah.
That's the first memory. But yeah, going up through school, then junior high school and high school is about the same. It was that tight home where we had book studies on Tuesday, meetings on Thursday, field service Saturday, meeting on Sunday.
Man.
You throw school in the mix, you know what I mean? You get
Okay.
this much time to go play outside, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. You saying all that is already making me exhausted.
It's like they laying here and they're like, dang, your Thursday, you couldn't enjoy the full day because like, dang, I gotta go to hall later. Like,
Yes.
yeah.
And then even for your studying, like you got your book study day with your Bible study teacher. At least that's what I had.
Uh-huh.
Gosh.
Yeah, that was tough.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
many days. When did you get baptized?
I got baptized. It's crazy too. They be like, that's the most important date to remember. I swear I can't remember, but I know it was like I was 13 or 14. I'll say that. I was just going into high school, you know what I mean? So it was early teens.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite questions I like to ask. And then it can also change over time. What type of Jehovah's Witness were you? And you could walk us from beginning to end. Some people were like very strict to the rules. Some were a little laid back.
Mhm.
Some was like, I'll show up to the meetings and everything, but I'll do my own thing on my own time. Like, what type of witness were you?
I was more of the one who did everything right,
Mhm.
but I had this side of me. I didn't know then, but thinking back, I had this side of me that was always a little. I had three older brothers, half brothers. My dad was married previously with two other women, so I had older brothers come through, and they wasn't in the hall. So they come over on the weekends, and I'm hearing Too Short on the headphones, and you know what I'm saying, and you know, I'm like, I'm getting a little taste of like the other side, but it was like I couldn't really go there. So I was the goody two shoe kind of kid, really, but I was also like, I was goofy. I was a clown. Like family reunions, I would dance for everybody, make everybody laugh, that kind of thing, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
But I didn't really, I wasn't really on the end cool crowd because in like high school, there was a crowd of kids in our hall who was like, you knew they was doing something. You just ain't know what. They was going out doing something. But I wasn't in that crowd. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was kind of the loner a little bit. Me and my cousin would hang out. That's like my brother. I had two younger sisters,
Mhm.
and I didn't really want to hang with them. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying, you know. So
Yeah.
yeah, so I was kind of the on the rules type, but there was just a little part of me that was always a little, curious. My mom even caught me one time listening to Too Short. She came in my room. I thought she was gone, and it was blasting. And she was like, "What is this show?" Going crazy. I was like, "Oh snap!" It was yeah.
Was it Freaky Tales or was it something else?
No, it was. I ain't tripping no more.
Okay, I'm
So
saying
it wasn't too bad. It wasn't
like
like
how bad are Too Short?
Yeah.
They give it right. Oh my God.
Yeah,
That is
Yeah.
funny.
for real.
Good. You pointed something out where you said that you knew that there was some witnesses in the hall that were kind of like doing something. And this is my thing. Everybody always thinks that all Jehovah's Witnesses are just like goody two shoes, but that's not the truth. That's not the reality of it at all, because everybody is going through things as they're growing up. So like you said, everybody is curious at some point and kind of wanting to experience the other side of what they grew up in, I
Yeah.
would say.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Sure.
Yeah, but it's normal if you think about it. Everybody is interested in something, but the religion confines you to not be yourself, basically. Like, these are the rules, this is how you have to live.
Yeah.
And if you got something about you that doesn't go along with this, you need to get rid of that.
Yes.
But at some point, some of us, it's like trying to just keep something held in. It's going to bust through the cracks at some point.
Eventually,
Yeah.
yes. And you got baptized really young.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was trying to, and that was a trend too in my congregation. Teenagers getting baptized. We was in a big congregation, man. We had like, I don't know, like 200 some publishers. Like the hall was packed every Sunday. They had like 15, 16 elders, 30 pioneers. It was like that
Wow.
super hall. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so everybody getting baptized around my age. So me and my sisters, like, we got baptized too, And at the time, you think you're doing it for the right reasons, but you think you're doing it because everybody else doing it. You just want to,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want to look less spiritual.
Yeah, for
You
sure.
get older,
Mhm.
and then they get on you. All right, you next.
Right.
When you gonna take that dip? When you going and it's like they tell you that you're good enough, but they
Yeah.
keep pushing you. Like, you got to join the school.
Yeah.
Then once you join the school, it's like, I did it. All right, now you going to service. All right, I'm going to service. Are you baptized? I'm baptized. I did it. Are you a servant? It is like it just
It
don't
don't
stop.
stop. It don't stop.
Yeah.
I got baptized at 16 and I felt like I was late to the party. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
everybody else around me, like a lot of my friends were already baptized and had been baptized for a couple years.
Mhm.
And I felt like the late bloomer kind of.
Yeah. I was 20.
Yeah.
Just turning 20. I felt late.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, because my dad like wasn't always present, I felt like I almost had to make up for the fact that I didn't have the most spiritual family. So I had to like step up and try to be the most spiritual in my family.
Yep, I have to disfellowship mom. So it's like
Me too.
everybody look at me like, well, you come from base. I used to feel like maybe that's just me, but no, that was what it was. Like, you come from the screw up family. Like,
Right.
don't be like your mama. So let me get baptized.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's definitely what it
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always pressure. You know what I mean? It's always pressure to do something else. And yeah, if you got baptized at 20, yeah, they probably looking at you like, man, what you taking so long? What's taking you so long?
Yeah.
20 is super late if you grew up in the religion. Like that's late.
Right.
Did you acquire any other titles while you were being a Jehovah's Witness?
Yeah, I made it to ministerial servant.
Okay.
But that wasn't when I was younger. That was later. That was in my 30s.
Okay.
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 That
So
was
what
in my
happened
30s.
between there?
So after I got baptized, I'm gonna throw this in there too. I want to get baptized because I want to do the microphones, man. That was microphones. I get to go run the mics.
I'm telling you, you feel happy to have that type
I'm
of
telling you, man, privileges was like golden. You know what I mean?
It really
You do
was.
something, and they make you feel like, you get this if you keep doing it. But
yeah.
no, my mom and dad. So the ideal family, witness family, came to a halt My dad was an elder, like I said. My uncle too, his brother, my mom's aunt, her husband. So I had like family in the hall that was all elders.
Mm.
But my dad, this new family came in the hall, and this family, the guy was disfellowship, the wife wasn't. He wasn't going to the hall no more. I seen him like maybe once or twice. But this new sister came in, and my dad, and another elder, were like assigned to her to help her out.
Mm.
Well, my dad was helping too much because he ended up marrying her like yeah, so my family got, you know what I mean? So mom and dad went through the thing, and so that was high school years. So I would say
Okay.
like junior year, maybe almost senior. My dad then went off with her. My mom is now like kind of like she just all messed up. So, she kind of doing her thing, and my sister's doing their thing. So I'm like a leaf in the wind, and
Yeah.
I'm starting to hang with like, unsavory. Let's use that word, unsavory characters, you know what I mean? So
That's
but like you said earlier, when you pent up so tight, it's gonna pop off at some point.
yeah.
So me starting to hang with cousins and certain people, we were starting to do stuff like, go in stores and distract the thing and grab some 40s, and we'll bust up out there and run with the beer, and you know what
Yeah.
I mean? We were starting to do like petty crime.
Yeah.
Well,
Right.
it escalated, and I started getting this adrenaline rush from like hitting licks. You
Mhm.
know, dope boys, whoever, it didn't matter. Didn't nobody suspect me because I was all clean looking and innocent looking.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I got away with quite a bit, and but I didn't get away with that much because I ended up getting locked up at 21.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
at 21 years old, I got sentenced to 10 years in prison. I did 9 of those years, a little over 9, and I got out. I was about 30, little almost 31 or so when I got out. And I got back into the hall and stuff, got married at 33, and that's when I became a ministerial servant. When I
Okay.
got out, I was trying to like, I'm gonna do this witness thing, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That was, yeah. So that's
Yeah.
how I became a ministerial servant. And yeah, yeah.
Okay, we ain't gonna spoil it because if y'all want the full story, you got to go to Tim's channel. But
Period.
tell us a little bit what it was like during time being a Jehovah's Witness.
Right.
That was so when I first went in, I wasn't claiming no witness stuff. I'm like, I'm in
Uh-huh.
prison. I'm about to be
Yeah.
like, I gotta, you know what I'm saying? The number one thing on my mind is like, man, booty bandits. I ain't on that. So I'm trying to like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I gotta adjust to life in here. So, and
Yeah.
plus I'm not, I'm in a strange area. I'm down where there's a whole bunch of Dayton, Cincinnati cats at,
Mm.
and I don't know nobody here. And so um I just did two things. I mind my business and I ain't gamble. And them the two rules I
You
did,
straight.
right? And I was straight. But I started getting back into the witness stuff later in prison. And being a witness in prison is like you find every prison got like a group of people. And you
Mm.
got the witness group here, you got the Muslims over here, you know what I'm saying? You got the Christians over here. So I got back with some people that was witnesses too in there. Because a lot of people turn to the Bible and religion when they go to prison because you ain't got nothing else to do. So,
Right.
you're
Yeah.
gonna find faith, you know what I mean? You like now you praying every day, you want to get out and stuff. But so it was cool, man. I still applied the rules, minding my business.
Mm.
Uh, I hooked up with a couple homies that I knew from growing up that was in there too, and
Oh,
they
wow.
mom and my mom studied, so we was cool.
Mm-hmm.
I only had a crew, man. Like man, I can count on one hand how many people I hung with. You know what I mean? So we would
Yeah.
work out, we would hoop,
Mm-hmm.
we would go witness on the yard. So as a witness, we would go in the yard and we'd be passing out magazines.
What?
Yeah,
Man.
because the elders come in and they give you magazines and stuff, whatever you want. They don't care. They
Yeah.
like whatever you need, we gonna bring it. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
man, we gave talks in there too. They had meetings. I mean, you give like the 5-minute reading and the talks and all that. So
Yeah.
you
Uh-huh.
do the witness thing in there. You be looking forward to the meetings. You know what I mean? You get all
Yeah.
cleaned up, put on your best
Mm-hmm.
blue outfit. They all blues, but you put on the one that's pressed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people, it's just like, I guess, real life, but it's condensed, because
So,
if everybody's in prison, but it's just like real life. You got your Muslims, you got your Christians,
Just something to get you through.
yeah, definitely.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And that's what it was. It's something to get you through. And for real, I believed in it. I studied
Mhm.
like I never studied while I was in there because, I grew up in it. And so now I'm reinforcing what I grew up in.
Yep.
But
Right.
it's all I know.
Yep.
You know what
Uh-huh.
I'm saying? It's all I know. So I'm like, yeah, I'm a real witness now. You know what I mean?
Definitely. And you had the time, and it's like
Mhm.
that was just something that you were doing whenever you were a kid. It got you in this position, and now you're able to, you feel like your relationship with Jehovah got stronger while you were there.
Yeah, that's how I felt. Yeah, I felt like, oh yeah, Jehovah guy and all this. He taking care of
Yep.
me.
Like it's
Yeah.
part of his plan to use
Yeah.
me when I come home.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like coming home and getting back into the groove of the Kingdom Hall and everything?
It was weird at first. Uh,
Hmm.
because when I got back out, I went back home where I grew up at my mom's house. So she was inactive at this time. Had been active for years.
Wow.
So
Okay.
she wasn't in it. So I come back and I'm going to the meetings and you can I tell more on my channel, but like yeah, I was double lifing it, man. I've been locked up 9 years, man, and I'm just a man. So
Yeah.
I was kind of double dipping a little bit, while I was being a
Mhm.
witness, I was living that double life, So I
Yeah.
was one of the people from back in the day who was doing something on the side while you go to the hall.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
As
that
most witnesses, a lot of them do. Like, yeah.
definitely.
So
Yeah.
My
yeah.
dad was like that too. Whenever remember, let me just tell this story real quick because I took my dad was locked up whenever me and Jevin met, and
Mhm.
so one day I'm like, okay, you got to meet my dad. So we go to the prison to meet my dad. He's giving us all these Bible scriptures, okay? Like he is the most holier than thou man up in there.
Uh-huh.
And then he comes out, what was it, maybe a year later?
He came home like that December 2021, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
And he got right back into his old life. And we
Right
would
away.
laugh about it, like, what's all them scriptures you're giving?
Yeah, I'm like, man, I'm like, I already know you just doing this while you in here. When you come home and you back in action, whatever.
Literally, it was so funny. Oh my
Hey,
God.
that's real, man. I grew up with a guy down the street. He grew up down the street from me. He grew up in the streets.
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
And we were in there together too.
Yep.
And he was strong. He was preaching all the time and all that. Man, he got out. I think he got out before me. But yeah, he got out, man, and same thing. He was doing the hall strong, and within like 10, 12 months, that boy was like out here. He was done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, I promise you, I'm gonna do right. And then soon, once you got the freedom, it's like, I got you. I'm gonna get back with you. I promise you. But I just gotta, yeah.
That's for real. That's real, man. For real. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So this is what I wanted to ask too. Like, and I won't spoil the story. Like I said, y'all got to go to this channel. When you live the double life, because I was living like that. I always tell people I was a strong witness for about 6 months. Like that's as long as I could did it. It is just like, man, like I stopped listening to rap, all that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
everybody else don't see the struggle of what's you battling internally. Like, did
Yeah.
you have that guilt at the meetings? Like you would hear certain talks and be like, dang. And it took me from 20, I didn't talk to the elders until I was 22.
Hmm.
So for 2 years, like they trying to, I always want to say promote, appoint me to
Mhm.
different things and giving me privileges. But in my head, it's like, man,
Nah.
I ain't living like how y'all think. Did you have any of that going on?
Yeah, I had some guilt for real. I did have some guilt. I was like, man, this ain't right. You know what I mean? But in my mind, I was like, I kept making excuses for myself. Like,
Mhm.
I was locked up, that kind of thing. And then when I was dating about to get married, that's when I cleaned up. So
Yeah.
I kind of cleaned up and I was like, I'm good now. You know what I mean? I should be good. But, I want to try and get this fellowship, man. I just got
For
out. Ain't
real?
nobody get
Right.
shunned, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
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 And then you dated in the organization and got married, obviously. So to
Yeah.
another witness.
Yeah, to another witness. Yeah. Who was
Okay.
raised in it. Her parents was in it too. So
Mm.
she
Okay.
got baptized late too, though. She didn't get baptized till she was like 25 or something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is late for
Yeah.
somebody who grew up in it, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so what was there like a significant point in your life where you were like, okay, something about this is not sitting right with me, or like what happened with that experience? How did you end up leaving?
It was, when I think back, 2016 was a big year.
Hmm.
2016 was a year. It was multiple events. I had surgery, hip surgery. My wife was pregnant with our firstborn son. I had got this fellowship and reinstated. But
What?
the big one was the convention in the summer. They
Mm.
had
Mhm.
they had this movie. And that's the first time I seen a movie like, we doing this? Like, this is, And,
Yeah.
you know, like a real live production movie. Like,
Yep, yep.
this is
Mhm.
like a trailer and everything, and the effects. I'm like, this is
I
something.
remember that.
Yep, I was just
Because all the dramas growing up was like, you know, the fake beards and everybody out there,
Yes.
you know, and they
mouthing.
On the
Yeah, and-
stage. Yeah.
yeah, they lived. But 2016 was like bells was going off, but I ain't paying no attention. But my dad passed in 2020. When he died in 2020, I'm talking about within months. A few things happened that was kind of I can't really explain.
Mhm.
And it was a feeling, and it felt like it was him, a presence or something like that.
Mm.
You know, it was, you know, I ain't see no visions or nothing, but it was just like something. And then in a group chat with my wife's family, somebody put a link in there for YouTube for a dude who was being sued by Watchtower because he was using, what was he doing? He was using Kingdom Melodies for a Christmas song. That's what it was.
Okay.
And so, you know, that algorithm was like, oh, you like that? Okay. You know, and I had previously looked at something. I came across something before where a dude was showing on YouTube. He was talking about witnesses.
Mm-hmm.
And he was talking about how they had money and like tied into like military type stuff and, you know, weaponry companies and all that, Lockheed and all that. And I'm like, I probably watched a couple minutes and I cut that off. Like, nah, I probably can't watch that.
Yeah.
But after that link, I watched a couple videos, and one of them was talking about the United Nations or something like that. And so I stopped watching it, and that's when I started. That's when I started like, let me look at this. So I looked up, I found out these books. It was numerous books about Jehovah's Witnesses and the United Nations.
What?
On like what's that Kindle or something like that, one
Yeah.
of them reading apps.
Mhm.
And so I downloaded that book and I read that whole book and I was blown back. And then the Australia Royal Commission. Then I was like, boom. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I went down a rabbit hole after that. I started finding out everything. I started studying Russell. And I'm doing all this, but I was saying nothing to nobody. And so I just started doing that research that a lot of ex-witnesses do. They just start really researching
Mhm.
without the programming from Watchtower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was it for me. I said,
Yeah.
oh no, this is crazy. But I didn't believe it at first. I'm like, this can't be real. It was like denial.
Yeah.
I'm like, this can't be for real, man. This can't be, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it is. I'm looking at documents. I'm looking at cases. You know, this is
Yeah.
then it started clicking about how I felt in 2016, being disfellowshipped.
Mhm.
And I never got over that feeling. When I got reinstated, I ain't care nothing about being nothing. I wasn't trying to do like, man, I'm ready to go. I used to have an attitude for a while too. So it was something building. It was something building up in my spirit that it wasn't sitting right with me. And it never did. You know, as a kid, I used to be at the doors like, Satan, please don't let nobody answer this door. I don't want
Yeah.
Knocking light.
Yeah. I fake hit doorbells and everything. Like, especially if you work by yourself in the campaign. I ain't get nobody, y'all. Y'all get somebody? I ain't get nobody.
Man, I feel that. And my granddad was one of them. He had stand there for 10 minutes, knock, wait. I'm like, Granny, I don't think they home. You sure? Let's look
Looking
around. Like,
around.
let's get this block finished.
Yes.
I feel you on that.
Gosh.
Right. Yeah, so it's never really in my spirit. That's it.
Yeah. And then you realize the whole time you was trying to fight against being yourself. Like something in you was drifting away from this, but you forced yourself to do it.
Yeah.
And even like the part you said about the getting reinstated part, man, some people jump back in it, but it's like that enthusiasm you had before being disfellowship, it don't kick in for everybody. Like even beforehand, you get there early, you stay late. Man, as soon as amen, I'm out. Like I'm ready to go. You're not looking forward to the meetings. Like I don't know about you, but I wasn't even really throwing a nice outfit together for the meetings. Like I'll throw something together right quick, go in. Then you get to the point where you're not really doing your lesson. You just showing up just for the appearance of I came.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Especially when it went digital, you really have like, you know what I'm saying? No more paper. I'm like, shoot, I can go on my phone. And honestly, I used to pre-plan my outfits too. Like I'm gonna wear this and that. Man, I wear the same thing 2-3 weeks and I don't even care, man.
That deal has left, just gone away.
Left the chat.
Yeah. So did you get disfellowship when you were a ministerial servant?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I was a servant, got this fellowship. Yeah.
And then you never became one again
Oh no.
after that.
No.
Okay. Did you feel like the treatment was different whenever you came back, or was it more so like you felt like it was your attitude that was?
When I came back, everybody, was like, "Oh, welcome back, Tim." This and
Mhm.
that. They was happy for me. I guess I don't know. It was,
Right.
in hindsight, it was all kind of fake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird and plus, my wife was trying to get me to she said you need to be there when they announce it. That shows like that you want to come back. So
Yeah.
that was weird too. Like before the meeting, everybody, hey y'all, how you doing? Everything's normal. Then as soon as they announce it, you heard all these gasps
Right.
and then
Dead
after
silent.
the meeting, it's almost like, eh, eh.
Yeah.
You know
Yup.
what I mean? It's like we don't know you no more. It was weird.
Like
Right.
Men in Black Flash.
Exactly.
Literally.
That's such a weird
It is weird.
situation because, like, how is it that you were just talking to me before this meeting started, and now afterward, I don't even exist in your eyesight? Like, that's crazy. The
And
type of shunning that happens.
and the worst part is you know what's about to happen. Only you and the elders know what's about to happen that
And
whole
whoever you
meeting.
told.
Yep, what you're not supposed to tell nobody.
Right.
Don't tell nobody. Like y'all
Everybody
about to tell
knows.
everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right. I still did. I told a few people like, hey, they're gonna announce it.
Yep.
But it's kind of weird. Like she said, 1 minute you gonna die for me, you'll die for me, right? 1 minute, next minute you won't even say hi.
Yeah.
Yeah, make it make sense.
That's wild. So how long were you disfellowship for?
Not long. They said 6 months I could reapply
Mm-hmm.
or write a letter. I said reapply.
Um,
But yeah, you can. So my wife was pregnant with our first kid, and she wanted me back before our first son was born. So when them 6 months hit, I put a letter in like, okay, I'm sorry, blah, 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 blah. I wrote a letter,
yeah.
and yeah, denied.
They'll be like,
Yeah, they denied it. Like, no, no, I'm cool. Wait 30 more days, you can write another one. So 30 days later, I'm like, ding, 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 ding. Another one, denied.
Oh,
And I ain't gonna lie to you, that did something too when I got back, because it was like, man, y'all playing with power now. Y'all got a little power.
yeah.
And
yeah.
y'all know I want to come back for my son born. I missed his baby shower and everything because they had a witness baby shower. I
What?
was able to come pick up the gifts, you know what I'm saying? But I couldn't really be there. But
Mhm.
yeah, the third time I wrote a letter, they was like, okay, welcome back. My son already born now. Man, in hindsight, they just playing power moves, man. And
Yeah.
really a lot of them jealous of you, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
You overcame prison, you got a beautiful wife, and you starting
Yeah.
a family, you're doing good, got your own business, you're doing good. And in hindsight, it's like, man, some of you dudes just straight jealous, man. That's all it was.
That's
So
all it
they
is.
use their position.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, especially if they knew you wanted to be back for your son to be born and stuff.
Mhm.
Like that.
Sure. Yeah.
It's rare they let you back on the first letter. It took me, I think, I wrote 3, they turned them all down. And
Dang.
before I wrote the 4th one, right. And then before I wrote the 4th one, they randomly asked me to come back. It's like, I'm the same person I was a month and a half ago when I wrote number 3. Like, what you just doing me?
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, that's a weird situation. And not being able to take part of like the baby shower and stuff like that. Like, dang, this is my kid. Like,
Right. And who are
Yeah,
y'all?
they knew, they knew we was excited to have our first kid and stuff, you know what I mean? They
yeah.
knew. So, but yeah, in hindsight looking back, man, it was so fake. It was
Mhm.
fake.
Everything was.
Yeah, man. It was just like this. I felt like I was like in this dream world, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just being naive and thinking everybody care about you and all that. And don't get me wrong, some people do care. You got some of the older ones, they do got some love in their heart. They kind
Yeah.
of you went and all that. So I say that I tell people about witnesses, you got some good people in there. They just mentally trapped and misled. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But the elders, a lot of time, a lot of them are just regular dudes who got a little job and they barely make it and they got a little power. So they got that little whip out sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this they place to tell somebody what to do. But once they,
Yeah,
oh, man, who you talking to? Like, that's them.
for
And the
sure.
truth of it is, like, that's what the spiritual women inside of congregations are looking for. They're looking for men who have titles and things like that. So, and who are the spiritual leaders and all these things. But really, like, the way that our nature is a lot of times the qualities that they have are not attractive, at home.
Yeah, they just the supervisor at work
Yeah.
inside the
Right.
house.
Yep.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Mm.
So a lot of them got issues already. You hear about it a lot. And I hear about a lot more since I left and started YouTube and you know, communicate with more people who left and stuff. It's like, man, this one, no, few isolated events. This is a common thing. A lot of these guys got issues already, power issues, and they at home, you know, whooping on wives and
Yeah.
Yeah,
all kind
drunk.
of crazy stories, man.
Yeah. And it's always an elder that got like own like a winery in the basement. Like it's a lot of I'm telling you, it's always certain elders at almost every hall that just got all the drinks.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had one family we grew up with. They was cool, but I didn't know they was alcoholics till later.
Yeah.
Man, you
Yeah.
go to their house, man. They kick it. They be like, got food. And they nice and everything, right? And we got some of this. You want some water? We got some happy juice. They call it happy juice.
It's like because witnesses are so confined, the one little alleyway they got is like you could drink for fun. Bet and they jump on that. Like that's the only thing you can do as a witness.
Yep. If they told witnesses that they were allowed to smoke weed or do whatever, they would do it. You know what I mean?
Look, they do it openly.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff would happen if the rules allowed. You know?
So this is my next question I was gonna ask. What was your exit like coming out? You know, some people will make an announcement and tell everybody. Some people would just fade out. Like, what was your exit like?
Me, I kind of I just stopped going. Once I learned what I learned, I just stopped going. And I had been like smoking weed a little bit, sneaking it, you know what I mean? And one day my wife was like, you smoking weed? You know, so I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm smoking weed. And you know what else? Boom, this and that. And I just came out with everything. Like, man, let me get this off my shoulders, man. Get this off of me, man. You know what I mean? That's how I felt. Because I told her I compared it to in the movies where they got the slave ships and they beating that drum and they roll to the beat of the drum. And I told her, I said, I felt like my whole life I just been marching to the beat of this drum. The same scriptures, the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, I'm kicking that drum down. I'm done. It's like, it's time for me to live. Like, it's time for me to figure out who the hell I am. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was my thing to my wife. Now, I did tell my father-in-law one day cutting his hair. He ain't seen me at the meetings. So he's like, hey, what's going on? You know, I ain't seen you. You know, we got done cutting. We just chopping up. And I was like, yeah, you know, I don't remember specifically, but I remember saying like, there's a few things that's bothering me that I found out about something. And he was just like, oh, you, I didn't think you would defer. I didn't never think you'd be one to defer. That was the word he used. And he never came back for a haircut, and everybody in that congregation didn't come back either. It was like 5 people I used to cut. They didn't even call me. They just ghost. They was gone. You know what I mean? So obviously he went back and told them. So I guess he kind of let them know I wasn't in it. And I used to get a few calls from elders from time to time. I wouldn't answer. One time I answered. I know what they're doing. They just trying to see where I'm at. They're trying to fill me out, see where I'm at, and you know, can they trying to diagnose me. They trying to put something on me that, you know, is he apostate? Is he there? You know, so I faded back. I was gonna write a letter, and my cousin, an older second cousin of mine, she ain't never been. I mean, she never. I take that back. She left a long time ago. She faded away. So I said, let me call her and see what she think about this. And so she was like, "Don't give them no power. They got no power over you.
Facts.
Yeah.
You ain't got to write no letter or do what they rules. You ain't got to give them a reason. Cause see, now if you do that, everybody got a reason to not talk to you and all that. So I was like, okay, yeah, I was like, I appreciate that. So I just stopped going. And then I was just, man, this is 2021. I was just soaking up nothing but YouTube videos and doing my research. I was just all in Lloyd Evans and critical thought, XJW, critical thinkers. I was, man, them videos really was hitting me. And so I watched some videos and I would go back and look at the stuff they was talking about still. So I was just still going deep on like everything. And I just ain't say nothing to nobody after that. Me and my mom, I told my mom, and we can't really talk on that level no more. We can't have them conversations because she deep in, and you know, obviously I'm on the other side of the fence, and we can't have a real conversation because it's gonna lead to an argument, disagreement, and all that. Cause she trying to preach to me, and
I'm trying to hear.
So I basically just faded, man. I said I'm done. I just stopped.
Yeah. We did the same thing.
Yeah, we were about to turn, and it was the same time frame, like 2020. So when we woke up and went down the rabbit hole, and we just was like, And I moved to Pennsylvania at that time too,
Yep.
so I ain't have to worry about seeing nobody no more. Everybody else back in Ohio, so
And then we moved to Georgia, so like we don't worry about seeing nobody anymore.
Right.
it's all
Right.
over.
I do think that helped us a lot because bumping into people at grocery stores and stuff like that, and them acting like you don't exist, like it's just awkward. It's just weird,
Yeah.
you know.